This is my quintessential top tier cottagecore book list. Let's start with The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden. Edith Holden, in 1906, in the English countryside, she started to chronicle her adventures with nature month by month. Let's have a peek at May, because lo and behold, we're in May. Some plants that you might find in May in your area and that she found in hers: white dead nettle, lady smock or cuckoo flower, May mottos: change not a clout till May be out. Who doffs his coat on a winter's day will gladly put it on in May. Shear your sheep in May and shear them all away. Interesting. Fun. Beautiful May mentions the origin of the name of the month of May. It's suggested that it derives from Maia, May, the mother of Mercury, to whom the Romans were accustomed to sacrifice on the first day of May. Gorgeous illustration for May. So delicate. May 11th, saw a dead hedgehog curled up by the roadside. Went to Stratford on Avon, and walked to Shottery across the meadows. On the way I gathered hawthorn blossoms from the hedges and saw fields yellow with buttercups and banks of blue speedwell. The dandelions were a wonderful sight along the railway cutting. Yeah, so every page follows the same method. Some beautiful illustrations, her thoughts, her chronicles for the day and the month in general, and it proceeds on. But yes, perfect book to read this May. And it's so easy to digest. You just pick it up, put it on your coffee table, end table, and just pick it up whenever you'd like. No commitment. Pride and Prejudice. Can we get more cottagecore? I think not. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It is probably my favorite book, and I've only read it somewhat recently. Yeah, it's just so magical. If you're one of those people who has not read it yet and you're like, oh gosh, it can't be that great, no, it really is. I promise you it is that great. The general story is it takes place in the Regency era. There's a couple, a man and his wife. They have 5 daughters. They're somewhat well off, or pretty well off, I'd say. But unless the daughters marry, all the daughters will lose their home upon the dad's death. So some of the daughters are considering marriage, and the story just kind of goes through their relationships, particularly, you know what I'm saying. The eldest daughter, Jane, and Mr. Bingley, their relationship, and then it chronicles also Lizzie, Elizabeth, and Darcy and their little romance, and it's just amazing. I'm not like a romance kind of girl either, but this book made me one. And the way it covers spring, it's just so great. You have to get it. You have to pick it up. Watch the 2005, I believe it is, adaptation with Keira Knightley, I think. Read the book. Watch the movie. You won't be sorry. Along that sort of same literary line, Anne of Avonlea by Ellen Montgomery. And this book, oh look, it's a picture of spring, right? Pink, beautiful blossoms again. And this kind of goes through Anne's, if you're not familiar, it goes through Anne's time when she is a local school teacher before she goes off to college. And it has just some really hilarious parts. Like, for instance, she meets this new neighbor, and the neighbor has a parrot, and the parrot constantly says, redheaded snippet, and it's just very fun humor. I'm not delivering it properly, but I promise you, in the book, it's hilarious. So it goes through that, and then she and Diana, her bosom buddy from Green Gables, they're still pals, and it goes through Diana getting engaged and the 2 girls trying to head up this improvement society. So super fun book. Great for spring. I have more, don't you worry. If you're still with me, let's do a brief intermission and let me show you some of the flowers that are blooming on this property. They're so pretty. Okay, here we go, a walking. These are the apple blossoms. You can hear the bees. I hope they're bees and not hornets buzzing in the background. I'll show you. There are what seem like at least 1,000 bees getting the nectar, so I will meander on and not get too close. I have 2 more books, and the second to last book is Floriography by Jessica Rue. Let me show you the cover up close. Yeah, stunning. Basic premise of this book is she goes through Victorian flowers and discusses what their meaning is, because there was a whole language of flowers back in the Victorian era. You didn't just give someone any old random flowers, you had to know the name and the meaning, and it sent the person that received the flowers a very strong message. Clover, a spring flower, let's cover that. Meaning, good luck, white clover in particular. Origin, and then it says what it pairs well with heather and wheat for good luck, and apple blossom and dandelion. If any walking in the field find any 4-leaved grass, he shall in a small while after find some good thing. Sir John Melton wrote that long ago. Apparently heather stands for both luck and protection. Pairs well with rose or clover, as we just mentioned. Historically, many Scottish warriors have worn white heather in battle for protection. Cool. Do you hear the birds in the background? The higher pitched squeak, squeak, squeak is a killdeer. They're so prevalent here. What type of birds do you have in your area during this time of year? I'm curious. Hemlock. Oh, we have hemlock here. This is very dangerous, actually. It's very, very deadly. Meaning death. Not surprising, right? Pairs well with probably death. And just kidding. Chrysanthemum for condolences upon the loss of a loved one. Nettle for a loved one who has been taken away too soon. So this is strange. It seems that hemlock maybe was gifted to people in the Victorian era who have lost loved ones. That doesn't make sense to me. That seems rather sad, actually. It says hemlock is a poisonous plant that causes paralysis and death. Oh, let's end with something more jolly, okay? Iris, meaning valor. Beautiful, beautiful illustration. Wisdom and faith. Pairs well with bluebells to show humility and victory. Clematis to indicate admiration for ingenuity. And last one, ivy. Has the meaning of fidelity and attachment. I always heard rats really like ivy. Is that true? Ivy's so beautiful on buildings, but I hate to think that they're all infested with rats. Anyway, last book, if you've hung around, is 100 Selected Poems by William Wordsworth. And he is also a Regency era poet. Is William Wordsworth his real name? It seems far too fitting for a poet to have the last name of Wordsworth. Just my humble opinion. What do you think? So my favorite poem of his, and you'll probably like it too, maybe you've heard it before, is I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. It's extremely delightful. I'd like to read it to you, maybe inspire you to get the book. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of dancing daffodils, along the lake beneath the trees, 10,000 dancing in the breeze. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not be gay. A poet could not but be gay in such a laughing company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the shoe to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, In vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils.